So Biden spent the weekend backtracking on his "I will veto the bipartisan infrastructure bill if that's the only one that comes." But will he actually? We'll get to that in 1 second. At least briefly, though, Republicans quite happy to hear that he is folding, even though he got the White House and they got the Senate and they got the House. Mitt Romney said, "I do trust the president." And he made very clear in the much larger statement that came out over the weekend, carefully crafted and thought through piece by piece, that if the infrastructure bill reaches his desk and it comes alone, he will sign it. That's Senator Mitt Romney very much speaking like a human would. So he now has faith. Rob Portman, senator, said, "We were all blindsided by the comments the previous day, which were that these two bills were connected." They've been talking about that for literally like 2 months. And I'm glad they've now been delinked. And it's very clear that we can move forward with a bipartisan bill that's broadly popular, not just among members of Congress, but the American people. So they're very happy about that. So like, I think, look, it's only fair, they should be delinked. So we took everything we didn't like out of the bipartisan bill, and we've at least implied we won't filibuster it. Now it's delinked from that other one that now includes all the stuff we didn't like. Who's to say whether we'll filibuster it or not? I don't know where to put my money. So yeah, like, and Biden is fully aware of this. The Democrats are fully aware of that. Nancy Pelosi, who so far hasn't backtracked, is fully aware of this. So if they delink it, they know exactly what that means. What that means is maybe you get the bipartisan one, but you 100% put every cent you have on it. Do not get the reconciliation bill. That seems fairly clear. We will see. Especially when you don't even have all 50 Democrats in the Senate having signed on to that. We have no idea if Joe Manchin would support literally any of this. So I don't know, Francesca, like Rob Portman, Mitt Romney, are they locked down now, or is there a chance that they could end up filibustering this thing too?
Oh, I put it past no Republican to suddenly get on a higher horse to squeeze their chest together for the donors. I'm sorry, that's just where my mind's at. I'm just like,
I don't even know what image you're conveying there, but I don't like it.
Okay, here's the thing. When Republicans are happy, we should be very, 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 very worried. And the other thing about Joe Manchin is, and he said, he's like, okay, yeah, budget reconciliation, but I'm not for like $4 or $5 trillion. I'm not for Bernie Sanders' plan. Well, what's your number, Joe? Like, what's your number? Maybe it's $500 billion. Maybe it's $300 billion. Maybe it doesn't even reach $1 trillion, right? So we don't even know with Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin how much they would be willing to go along with. And dare I even mention the Senate budget or the Senate parliamentarian, wherever that person stands on any of this, because remember, our fates are in their hands as well.
That's true. Can I piggyback on what you said about what his number is? Well, we don't know exactly. Obviously, a number only means as much as what is actually in that number. But you might recall on January 19th of this year when Senator Joe Manchin called for up to $4 trillion in infrastructure spending. And when that came out, I was like, no, there's no chance he actually means that, because he said that, got all the headlines like, oh, Joe Biden's infrastructure plan, that's tiny, I want a bigger one. He has never reiterated that since then. So we'll see. Now all of a sudden, a couple $1 trillion is too much. Like, we don't know what his final number is gonna be. But like I said, there's a little bit of nuance here, and that is this. On CNN's State of the Union, White House advisor Cedric Richmond repeatedly avoided directly answering whether Biden would sign the bipartisan infrastructure bill if it landed on his desk alone, saying, quote, "I don't think it's a yes or no question." Well, no, it definitely is a yes or no question. You clearly don't want to answer it, whether because you're worried about scaring the left or you're worried about scaring people like Rob Portman and Mitt Romney. But it definitely is a yes or no question. Are they linked? Are they delinked? Those are two very different situations there. He was super clear that they were linked. Now he's trying to make it seem pretty clear that they're not linked. But now you're saying, who's to say, words are social constructs. Are they linked or not? I feel like if we're gonna wait the next 3 months before a final vote, we should at least have some idea of what's gonna happen during that time. But Francesca, I'm gonna throw one more thing out there. And that is that they're obviously worried about Republicans not supporting this, the 10 Republicans that they need. But bear in mind, there are some Democrats that are not happy with the way this is going. Bernie Sanders reiterated yesterday, I believe this was, yes, saying, let me be clear, there will not be a bipartisan infrastructure deal without a reconciliation bill that substantially improves the lives of working families and combats the existential threat of climate change. No reconciliation bill, no deal. We need transformative change now. So he's trying to be pretty clear there too. I am inclined to trust him more. We'll see what happens over the next 3 months. But Rob Portman deciding he's not going to vote for this is not the only thing that Biden needs to worry about. Any final thoughts?
I mean, that sort of seems to me like it hints that maybe there is a progressive bloc. And I know that the Congressional Progressive Caucus has been, very vocal about this and making sure that there is a budget reconciliation deal along with the infrastructure bill, but maybe that they'll withhold their votes. And I would say that if Republicans are threatening to withhold their votes, and the Joe Manchins and the Kristen Sinemas who are standing next to the president with this infrastructure bill just beaming like, oh, look, he chose us, oh my God, even though we're the worst people, then progressives should as well, then, because I'm not convinced, and I hate to say this, I think that if none of this passes, it would be bad. I don't think it would mean that all of this is dead, if that makes sense. It would be, I'm not gonna, again, I think that some deal is better than absolutely nothing, but I also don't feel like none of this stuff could get passed ever again. Like this is our only chance, which is how everyone sort of makes it seem, especially those who have the most to stand to gain. And I don't mean the American people, I mean politicians and their donors.
Yeah. We'll see, yeah, I agree. I'm not expecting everything, but I am saying that the bipartisan bill is very much not everything. So hopefully Bernie is right. Hopefully Bernie has others that are willing to back him up. I don't know if anyone else is in that block. I suspect that they're not, but who knows? I haven't seen Elizabeth Warren or Merkley or a few others. We'll see what they think.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.